ancient navigator. The figures of Gog and Magog represent one of the most complex and debated apocalyptic symbols in biblical literature. Examining both biblical texts and historical interpretations reveals a development from a specific leader and his land to a broader, symbolic representation of hostile nations arrayed against God's people. 1. The Ezekiel Foundation, a specific leader and confederacy. C. 6th century BCE. Gog as an individual. Ezekiel 38-39 is the primary source. Here, Gog is explicitly named as an individual. Son of man, set your face toward Gog, of the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal. Ezek 38:2-3. He is portrayed as a powerful, aggressive military leader. Magog as a land people. Magog is identified as Gog's land of origin. Ezekiel 38:2. Genesis 10:2 lists Magog as a descendant of Japheth, son of Noah, traditionally associated with peoples northeast of Israel. Meshech and Tubal in modern Turkey are also Japhetic tribes. Rosh is debated, possibly a tribe or chief. A confederacy of nations, Gog leads a specific alliance against Israel. Magog, Meshech, Tubal, Persia, Cush, Sudan, Ethiopia, Put, Libya, Gomer and Beth Togarmah, Armenia, Anatolia, Ezek 38:5-6. This points to a coalition from the fringes of the known world, north, south, east, west, surrounding Israel. Maps of the ancient Near East show these entities encircling Israel. Context: Ezekiel prophesied during the Babylonian exile. Gog represents the archetypal enemy from the threatening north, a direction associated with mystery and danger for Israel, embodying the forces of chaos seeking to destroy God's restored people. 2. The Revelation Shift. Symbolic nations, 1st century CE. Gog and Magog. United. Revelation 20:7-8, written centuries after Ezekiel, marks a significant shift. When the 1,000 years are ended, Satan will be released, and will come out to deceive the nations that are at the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them for battle. From leader to collective symbol, here Gog and Magog together represent the deceived nations from the entire earth, four corners. The individual leader Gog is absent. Magog is no longer a specific land, but part of a symbolic name for the totality of hostile world powers aligned with Satan against the camp of the saints and the beloved city. Rev. 29. Context: Revelation uses apocalyptic imagery. Gog and Magog become shorthand, drawing on Ezekiel's powerful imagery of the ultimate enemy, but universalizing it to represent all nations opposed to God in the final eschatological battle, distinct from the earlier, more geographically specific prophecy. 3. Historical interpretations and development. Early Jewish interpretation. Josephus, 1st century CE, identified Magog with the Scythians, fierce nomadic peoples north of the Black Sea. Antiquities 161, reflecting a contemporary understanding of Ezekiel's northern threat. Alexander the Great. Legends, later Jewish and Christian traditions, e.g., Alexander Romance. Syriac apocalypse of Pseudo-Methodius merged Gog and Magog with legends of Alexander building gates to contain barbarous northern tribes, often associated with Scythians, Huns, or later, Mongols. This cemented the idea of Magog as a geographical location harboring dangerous nations. Medieval Christian and Islamic views, medieval maps, e.g., the Hereford Mappa Mundi, often depicted Gog and Magog as monstrous races confined beyond Caucasus mountain gates. In Islamic tradition, Quran 18-94, 21-96, Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Gog and Magog, are destructive tribes contained by Dul Qarnayn, often identified with Alexander, to be released near the Day of Judgment. Both traditions emphasized collective, hostile nations. Modern scholarship. Critical scholarship recognizes the evolution. Ezekiel, Gog, individual leader, from Magog, specific land people, leading a confederacy of identifiable ancient nations. Revelation, Gog and Magog, become a combined symbolic name representing all the nations of the world deceived by Satan in the final rebellion. History. The figures became associated with various real or imagined barbarian groups threatening civilization from the remote edges of the known world. Conclusion: an evolution from specific to universal. The biblical and historical evidence demonstrates a clear trajectory. 1. In Ezekiel, Gog is primarily an individual man, a powerful leader, originating from the land people of Magog. He leads a specific confederacy of identifiable ancient nations. 2. In Revelation, Gog and Magog are collectively symbolic, representing the totality of hostile nations from across the entire earth, deceived by Satan, for the final battle. The individual leader fades, leaving the name as a symbol for the nations themselves. 3. In historical interpretation, post-biblical tradition overwhelmingly interpreted Gog and Magog as groups of nations or peoples, often terrifying, barbarian hordes from the remote north-northeast, sometimes associated with specific historical groups, but always representing the archetypal enemy of God's order. Therefore, while Ezekiel introduces Gog as a specific leader from Magog, the dominant understanding developed through revelation and historical interpretation is that Gog and Magog represent hostile groups of nations, the collective embodiment of opposition to God's people and kingdom, particularly in an eschatological context. The individual leader becomes absorbed into the symbolic representation of the rebellious nations he embodies. Don't forget to hit subscribe button for more facts and adventures.